This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Discover the life-changing benefits of Meow Greens for your cat. Ever see your cat slowing down or having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Meow Greens to your cat's food for 90 days, and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Meow Greens, and I invite you to take the Meow Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your cat will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, they're going to have better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your cat today. Go to trymeowgreens.com. Use promo code TRYMEOW. That's try, M-E-O-W. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your cat's food to improve your cat's health. Just add a packet of Meow Greens.
Carpets Plus Studios. A beautiful Monday morning in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Nordo in for PA on a holiday week. And joining me in studio right out of the gates, now that I found my prep. Left the prep on the water machine. Heavy people had to run. Parker Fox is in studio at ParkerFox24 via X. And I did want to, hey, what's up with Nas? What's up with Julius Randle? But we must start on a different note. Congratulations on your engagement over the weekend, sir.
Yes, thank you.
How does it feel?
Feels good. Yeah, probably some of the most planning I've ever done in my life. But, Taylor's more of the type A. I'm more of the type B. But putting a lot of work and effort and really just tried to make it special. Everybody's talking about, you're going to be nervous and this and that. And I was, but I was more stressed. Just wanted to make sure it went the right way and everything went smoothly. And it did. So we had a beautiful dinner with both of our families. Then we went out to this dock and had this whole setup. And I got the yes, most importantly. So everything went smoothly and it feels great. So she had a bunch of her friends over yesterday to celebrate. And I guess life goes on, but it was a really special moment for the both of us and excited to start planning a wedding now.
The process, did you do the ask for permission?
Of course.
Portion of things?
I feel like that's still, right? In 2025, we're still probably doing that. Yeah.
I did. I think you should. Yeah. Absolutely. Was this, so I can only reference my own, back in time. She kind of, my wife at that time, girlfriend, kind of knew it was coming. It was kind of a conversation. It was, that would always kind of be pushed off to the side a little bit, but maybe eventually this was an inevitable result. Was that the same in your case?
Well, yeah, obviously, being part of the covenant now, PA helped me out with connecting me to Continental Diamonds and being able to kind of just go meet those people down there. And me and Taylor did go in, so we talked about it. And and actually, I think Rosen spilt the juice on that. Yeah. I think he came on the air one day and said, "Oh, I saw Parker at the Continental Diamonds jewelry store."
Come on, man.
Because Taylor and I went to go get them fitted, and literally the next day I went in and got it and paid for it because I knew that's what she wanted. Let's go forward with this thing. And that was probably 8 months ago now, so it's been a while. But I remember somebody texting me and be like, "Rosie just said he saw you at the Continental Diamonds."
No!
So thank God Taylor wasn't listening to the episode that day. But
when a Rosie name drop goes wrong.
But anyways, it went smoothly. I don't think she had much of a clue.
She didn't. Okay.
Yeah. So we set it up as kind of this, this dinner with our families and this place we were at. They wanted to take pictures of us, and so I set it up as like this fake photo shoot. And then eventually we came down, and then my mom built this whole arch with candles. So at that point she knew, and it was a long dock too, so it's like we're making this awkward stroll down the dock, but no, it was a perfect celebration. Champagnes, nothing but cakes. It was beautiful.
No, that's so cool. Yeah, the long walk down the dock.
I know, yeah.
So everything's good then, right? Beautiful evening.
Great night we're having here.
I can't imagine how many dumb things I would say.
Totally.
I was going to do it at a restaurant that we frequented. This is 2012, July 21st. And the old Axles in Chanhassen was a place that we would, that was our Saturday night spot.
Are Axles around anymore?
I don't think so.
Oh, they used to have like the make your own pizza for the kids. I don't know if you remember this.
No,
but,
Axles with the cinnamon butter on the popovers.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had the Axles bonfire for burgers and beer. But that's where I was going to do it. Yeah. And I came up weak, man. It was busy. I'm looking around, bunch of people enjoying their night. And I honestly, I wimped out.
Oh, man.
And I ended up just doing it privately a couple of days later.
I like that.
No dock, no candles, bottle of wine.
We've had so many fun moments for Taylor over the past couple of months here. They won the World Championships with the U.S. national team in the Czech Republic. So people are like, are you going to do it out in the Czech Republic? I was like, no. Then they come back home with the Minnesota Frost and they win the championship at XL Energy Center. And that would have been kind of cool to go on the ice and do it. But eventually I kind of just decided, let's make this small. Let's make it with family. Let's make it about us versus this big spectacle. So that's what it was. And it went perfectly.
Well, and the tough thing, too, you do it in the Czech Republic. Now you got to go back there.
Yeah, I know.
Now it becomes a thing.
We were in this little village town and 2 hours south of Prague. I don't know if I need to go back there, to be honest with you. But
congratulations to you, man. That is such a special moment. Really, really excited for you guys. So that was cool to see over the weekend. And so now we transition maybe into hoops.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the deal-making part.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you've been a Wolves fan for a very long time, Parker. You've seen this. At one point in time, this was kind of the most exciting part of the year for Wolves fans. In the end, ultimately, you're looking at a team that might win 20 games.
Totally.
And you start to dream weave in terms of we got some cap space. But David Kahn's in charge, so good luck with all that. But you kind of get excited for this phase, and now I'm super excited again, but for different reasons, right? For a team that has spent 2 years in a row on the outside looking in via the Western Conference Finals, and the opportunity where we truly are maybe one piece away, and that's kind of what it feels like. Maybe it's a guard, who knows? We'll see how things work over the next week. But the deal-making period, I believe it opens up at tonight.
Yeah.
We've gotten all the inklings and the shams bombs over the weekend, but they have their legal tampering period effectively this week. Free agency and signing takes place on Sunday. What do you love about this time? Are you like me where you kind of dream weave a bit? You start seeing deals. I'm seeing James Harden at his age getting a 2-year, $80 million deal, and it's being labeled a discount.
Yeah.
I'm just all in on all the moving and shaking that's taking place in the NBA right now.
Yeah, I think this is such a fun time. This and the trade deadline. It's like, if you're a basketball nerd and you just love the drama of it. And I grew up with my mom watching the Real Housewives, and I didn't attach to that, but this is my kind of drama. You know what I mean? And, the Wolves are in a position where I think you're right. It's I think Tim Conley showed us in the draft what it's going to look like moving forward with the Timberwolves, right? We're not looking for somebody to come in right now and help us. We're probably looking for some sort of veteran, some sort of guy that's been around for a while. And it's a tricky situation with the money right now. Exactly. Right. So it's Naz Reid takes a little less money. Now Nickeil Alexander-Walker's in this awkward position right now where we don't know what to do. We saw yesterday with the Luka Garza, Josh Minot bit. It's seemingly that Luka has a chance to kind of re-sign. Hopefully. I think he's such a great bench piece. And I think Luka's a guy that's going to be able to mentor these two other bigs that come in as well. But in terms of the league, I think it's going to be really exciting. I've seen some of this D'Angelo Russell drama with the Dallas Mavericks, and now I don't know if you saw the Malik Beasley bit too, so that's a whole nother talking point. But, I think it's just a fun point in the NBA right now. You don't have a whole lot of sports going on, but basketball, it's fun to talk about what rosters construction could look like moving forward.
You mentioned D'Angelo Russell and specifically with the Mavs. So I was going to go Wolves heavy first. I do want to get to the Wolves and get your thoughts, of course. Totally. You mentioned Naz's money, Randall's money, and maybe no more which would be sad, certainly. But I saw this over the weekend. Nico Harrison, I got to find the quote, general manager of the Dallas Mavericks. Here it is. Yes. I hope now you can see my vision, is what he was saying after the draft. And I think Cooper Flagg was with it. They were at the table. Yeah. Three-headed monster. Maybe Kidd was there too, Jason Kidd. I hope now that you can see my vision. So his vision, if you're following the Dallas Mavericks, you trade Luka Doncic.
Yep.
You actually tell the fans you didn't know how much Luka means to the city. At one point, fans were having to be removed from their arena for the chiding. And I mean, in fairness, they were saying some terrible things to Nico.
I can only imagine.
He says now that they're in an all-in win now mode.
Yeah.
They make that push, of course, and effectively do not ultimately tank for Cooper Flagg. Mm-hmm. And then they get lucked into a 1.8% chance of getting the overall pick via Adam Silver, KPMG guy in the back. Is he messing with the ping pong balls? We'll never know because they don't show us. That's his vision? Now you get to see his vision. He absolutely walks to the ledge, to the brink, peeks over it, even tries to fall.
Yeah.
And all forces, defying the laws of physics along with the hook from the commissioner and the league and the lottery pick, pull him back from the brink. And now he gets to sit there and smugly say, now you get to see my vision.
I think Nico Harrison,
brutal,
he had so much. He just needed to win so bad that he took anything he could find. You talk about a guy who he didn't feel safe in his seat sitting at games. Like, this is a guy where a couple weeks ago it was like, I don't know if I'm going to continue to be a GM. And then lo and behold, here comes this ping pong ball, and here comes the future of the Dallas Mavericks in Cooper Flagg. They captured the flag. I don't know if you give him credit. I don't know if we can give Nico credit. I think he's trying to give himself credit, it seems. But at the end of the day, you talk about a Dallas Mavericks team that has a chance, right, with what they have.
They do have a cool team if everybody's healthy.
Certainly, and if Kyrie Irving can come back and be healthy in January or February, he's going to be a great addition. They also signed a two-way deal with Ryan Nembhard, a guy that I thought kind of went under the radar, a guy that's really been a good player throughout his career. Did he
go to Gonzaga, or was it Andrew that went to Gonzaga?
Andrew went to Gonzaga. Ryan was at Creighton.
Okay.
And then he transferred to Gonzaga. I think he might have transferred to Gonzaga.
He may have ended up there too.
Yeah, but he was at Creighton at first.
Nembhard, of course, just in the finals with the Pacers. Very good player and part of that mix in Indy.
Yeah, no doubt. So I think this is a team underneath Nico Harrison where it's like, some things must have not gone our way. Fans are probably a little upset at us, but like now we have this year, this upcoming year, to really have a solid team and to kind of put fans away out of their misery and get a chance to play into the Western Conference, playoffs.
Man, just ugly in Dallas while still having a pretty cool team.
I know.
You're right. A healthy Kyrie and Anthony Davis. It finally felt like before he got hurt, like in the second half of his first game in Dallas, he had kind of had this healthy stretch too. So.
Totally.
And he can still change games. Let's do this. We'll set off the TimberTech set list brought to you by TimberTech, TimberTech.com. We will pause, reset, and jump into the howl with the recently engaged Parker Fox in studio here 9 to noon. More Parker around the corner, as you noted. At 11 o'clock, Ryan Burns, Gopher Illustrated. He's going to be in studio. Catch us up on Maroon and Gold as Gopher football season nears. Camp around the corner and ultimately games that matter in August. Pump for it. And in between, there's going to be a special announcement, I've heard, around 10 a.m., and we're going to participate in that special announcement. Ooh, a tease. What is it? It includes one of our favorite local teams, I can tell you that. And then at 10:20, a new friend of mine, Billy, from the Modern Sportsman, he's going to be in studio. And this all stems from Charch leaving us, sadly. We love Charch, and he's going to be joining us periodically still. But when he moved to a city in Utah, and he found out from his neighbor that it was required that he own a firearm. What should I do? He said. Well, I brought in a guy with a ton of instruction experience, firearms, class experience, and training and expertise. He's going to tell us, and hopefully Charch is listening, what to do in terms of potentially owning and or carrying a firearm. So that's the TimberTech set list brought to you by TimberTech, TimberTech.com. What up with the howl? Nas, Randall, oh my. No more nah? We'll talk with Parker about that next. It's Nordo in for PA on The Fan.
The Fan and BigDeck.com. I'm going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks in the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword this hour is check. The keyword check. KFAN.com. Keyword check.
Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days, and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-Day Challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. That's TRYRUFF. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
Head over our contest page for your shot at a pair of early screening passes to the new DC Studios film Superman in theaters July 11th. KFAN.com keyword contest to enter. That's KFAN.com keyword contest.
Well, at one point, Parker Fox in studio. It's me, Nordo, and for PA, Brett Blakemore produces. At one point, the conversation was, man, even with this rough Western Conference final, Naz Reid's probably going to make himself a lot of money. And why would he opt into the $15 million? Why would he not test the market? And sadly, other teams almost immediately, and they might still be making some moves this summer. It'll be interesting to see. But the Pistons in particular were almost immediately linked to Naz Reid. Pistons got some cash, Wolves don't. So bye-bye Naz. And then with Julius Randle, that was almost a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
He's just going to turn down $30 million. That's insane, right? So fast forward as we got closer to this time, though, kind of we had Chris Finch on with PA, and he was very adamant, very confident in the idea. Yeah, I expect them both to be back. And now we see it. 5 and 125, I believe, for Naz. So 25 a clip for him. He gets a pay bump, a big one. Yeah. But maybe he took a discount at the same time. Mm-hmm. Friendly confines, familiar grounds.
I think he did.
And then you have Julius, who ultimately he gets a little bit of a pay bump, but more for him would be the term and then that player option to 3 and 100 in total cash for him. What do you think about those deals, and what do you think about the continuity of bringing back those familiar faces?
Yeah, I think Naz is just an interesting one, right? Because he's a guy that's kind of become this almost cult hero in Minnesota, right? Like we've seen the Naz Reid towels, the tattoos, and
everyone gets to keep their tattoos now, by the way, which is awesome.
Yeah, you don't have to do any tattoo removal. I think it's just an interesting position that Naz got put in, right? He's an undrafted guy. You know, he works his way up. He becomes Sixth Man of the Year. He's a guy that you just love watching because his offensive skill set is very high, right? He's a 6'11", 6'10" guy that can really do it all. He can hit the three, he can stretch the floor, he can get inside. So it's a guy you really want on your roster. So I think when you're going into this period for Naz, you're probably looking around like, hey, this team's talking about this many $1 million, and hey, the Pistons have this, but can I win there? Can I create these relationships that I have? And then this 5-year 125 pops up, and it's like, oh, that's a good chunk of change. Yeah, maybe I could have got 5 more a year somewhere else, but I think we get so lost in this money, right? As these guys, and what an awesome opportunity for me to come back and get 25 a year and play for a team that has a chance to compete for Western Conference championships and go to NBA finals. And I'm seeing what Julius Randle is going to do next to me, right? He's back, and Rudy Gobert is back, and we have this front court that we've created this bond with. So I think if you're Naz Reid, it's a no-brainer to me, and obviously he made this decision, and I think it's going to pay off really well for the Wolves because we have a really good centerpiece regardless of what we do moving forward for the next 5 years.
It is. I'm glad you went that route because I guess you think about the opportunity he was given as an undrafted cat. Now he has to take advantage of that, and clearly he has outplayed his drafted or undrafted status. So we're loving that. But there is an element of you got to live the life you're in, right? Yeah. And the idea of chasing dollars. Now at one point, I think he's a New Jersey native. So then you're now thinking about the Nets potentially as well. But the team that raised him, the team that gave him that chance, and the grind, and in some ways, I think fans can impact games. Fans can impact franchise culture. There's probably, he's getting $125 million anyway.
Yeah, it's
right?
not like it's cheap here.
So I don't think he left 50 a year on the table.
Yeah.
But it can't be understated the fact that this fan base has wrapped their arms around him during his time here, from being, kind of cult hero off the bench in a couple of spots to being the sixth man of the year and being an integral part of what makes this team turn.
Yeah, you have to give the fans credit. And I don't know Nas great. I've seen him around a couple times and I've interacted with him a few times, but he seems to be a kind of a quiet, just kind of guy in the shadows, but it really seems that when he gets out on the floor and when fans are giving him that love, like, he's a true basketball player and he really has embraced what it's been like to be here in Minnesota. And I think you got to give Tim Conley a lot of credit. You got to give Chris Finch a lot of credit. But he's a guy that, is just one of those tweener guys coming out of college and has really carved himself a role and made an impact and found a home here in Minnesota. So I think it's awesome to have him for another 5 years.
So I wonder, where's your head at in terms of happy to have Nas back? Randall's going to be back now, Julius. So this is not too far removed. Again, going backwards to go forwards. I love kind of looking at, and I'm fascinated by how my own opinions and emotions can change over a relatively short period of time. We're what, a month, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, a month removed from getting ousted by OKC.
Yep.
So now when you get ousted by OKC, everything's awful, right? And nothing's off the table, and nothing is beyond or above scrutiny.
Yep.
And so it's like, all right, well, this Randall thing, I hope he doesn't opt in.
Yeah.
What can we get for Randall? And with Nas in particular, it's cool. You can shoot threes during during a December regular season game at Target Center. But when we needed you on the road at OKC, you went like 0-12 in the first two games of the Western Conference Final. You basically just want to get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
Well, cooler heads prevail. Time goes on. And now we're here June 30th, and it's deal making day. Just thinking back to that time and now, where's your head at in terms of the concept of running it back?
Yeah.
Because effectively what we're seeing now is, a couple of pieces, and you mentioned Garza might have a chance to come back. Sounds like Minot most likely will be going elsewhere.
Yeah.
But in fairness to those guys, certainly bench possibilities, but were completely not utilized during the playoffs. So where's your head at in terms of the idea of, muddy West? We saw what OKC can do, hoisting the Larry O'Brien. The idea of effectively, we're not going to get better necessarily by making huge moves elsewhere with new faces.
Yep.
We're actually going to get better by relying on our own current players to improve.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting in the NBA, right? Because you talk about all these teams that are in win now modes, and then you talk about some other teams that are in, we're building up, right? Like Brooklyn had all these draft picks, so we're building this team up. And this Timberwolves team is in kind of a win now position, right? I've talked about it so many times on this show and with Max pregame is Tim Conley built this roster to beat the Denver Nuggets, right? Like, this is the Denver Nuggets were the team 2 years ago that we needed to beat, and now it looks like Denver's going to be going in kind of the other direction, kind of almost blowing things up too. We'll see what happens over there in Denver.
We may have beaten them to the bottom of the barrel to a rebuild.
Well, that comeback at Game 7 2 years ago, that one would put anybody down. But no, this is a Timberwolves team that it really is in a win now position, right? We have a front court that's deep enough to go into playoff games and win. We have a back court that's young enough. We have, this Nickeil Alexander-Walker the past couple of years. We have Dante DiVincenzo. We have these guys that are in a position right now to win. So I think if you're the Timberwolves, you have to look at that and say, what move do we have to make to break through that barrier? And I think that barrier is the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? It's proven that that's the team that they're going to come back next year. They added a really good piece in a Northwestern guard that I played against for a lot of years at Minnesota. He's going to be awesome for them. So I think if you're the Timberwolves, you have to look at it and say, where do we need to get better? And I think that's the point guard position. And I think Dante DiVincenzo's been great kind of coming in and helping out. And, I would love to see some more Rob Dillingham this year. I would love to see some more Terrence Shannon Jr. this year, but I don't think he's a truly primary ball handler.
Right.
So where do you have to go go with that point guard position. I don't know. Like, is Bones Highland a guy that it's on a two-way that can kind of crack that and help you out? I don't know if that's the answer either. I'd love to see some sort of veteran point guard come in, pair up with Mike Conley. I don't know what direction that is, and I've been struggling to kind of figure that out. I don't know if you have any information on that end, Nordo. What is Tyus Jones looking like? Is there any, Lonzo Ball drama? Is there any Colby White drama? Colby White signed, I think, right? Did Colby White sign somewhere? I'm not for sure on that answer, but.
Well, I saw that Lonzo did. I haven't seen.
Did.
I think maybe Kobe was he intending to do a re-sign?
I think he might have been. So those are two guys I just kind of had on the ballot for point guard positions. But I don't know, when you look at this Timberwolves construction of this roster, where is your weak spot? And I truly think it's at that point guard position. Just with Mike Conley's age, he's going to be 38 years old this year. He's a guy that can give you 15 to 20 minutes setting up the table, being a table setter, a facilitator. But you need a point guard to take over. We've seen it, what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did last year to win the championship. He really, truly took over. And then on the other side with the Indiana Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton was their guy. So I think really good scoring and facilitating point guards help you in this era of the NBA. So you really need to try to find one, and I hope the Timberwolves can do that.
Well, so I see, like, Colin Sexton goes to the Hornets for Nurkic.
That's one I wanted, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't get that one, right? Because it's like Lonzo's there. You bring Con Knipple in, who's probably a point. LaMelo's there, and then you bring Con Knipple in, who's a point guard. Like that, you don't need a third point guard. I just didn't get that one.
Well, I was reading some speculation that maybe that's kind of the NBA works. Like it's a move to a move
that's
to
true.
Another move.
That's true.
To a fifth move. Well, the Jazz had to get rid of their 17 guards that they have on the roster. They got Isaiah Collier, who I think they like. They may have. Ace Bailey's not a point guard, but
he'll handle it. Yeah. Keontae George is over there too.
They got everybody over there.
They do.
Exactly. So they had to make the move. Is it the right move for the Hornets? We're worried about LaMelo Ball's health.
Yeah.
Well, Colin Sexton ain't that. He's not exactly an 80 games a season guy either.
No.
So it'll be interesting. But yeah, But in terms of the market that's out there, it does feel like you're kind of going down that road of what the answer might be.
Yeah.
And it might be a Tyus Jones. And I don't know, it's in the end, we're trying to win games here. We're not trying to get, likes and social media love from the fans. But, I'm curious what the fans, because the idea of, again, running it back.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, you mentioned OKC. One guy we didn't see last year that I think we're probably going to see this year. It's some Serbian guard that ended up getting hurt.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
So it's like Topic or something.
Nikola Topic. Yeah.
I've watched 90 seconds of YouTube videos. I'm not an expert, but for the sake of this, I'll pretend I am.
There you go.
But good getting even better with what they're doing. So, are you planning on, the improvement of, does Anthony Edwards take a step?
Has to.
Is Jaden McDaniels, the way that we talk about Rudy and in some ways not being an offensive option in certain steps, certain points. Jaden has kind of been that way too at times where he'll be 6 of 8 and he'll give you 4 corner threes in a night. He'll also go 1 of 10 and the defense is good. I'm curious. Do we sometimes overrate the defense? When he wants to be, he can be elite. Is he elite all the time? So the ebbs and flows of a change in just one off season, but it does feel that when we see that guard's name, that it is going to be Tyus Jones. It is going to be something like that. I wonder how fans feel about that. And I wonder how they feel about the idea of really, in large part, this team's only going to get over that hump into the finals by this existing core even taking another step, Yeah,
I think you have to buy into the fact that we want to be a defensive, a team that hangs our hat on the defensive side of the ball.
And
right?
I love that.
And I love it too. I think we were 6th last year in defensive rating, it's just really great, right? You have a center in Rudy Gobert that's really made an impact in shot blocking. You go out and draft a 7'3" kid from Australia and you draft this 6'11" kid from France. So it's like you're clearly putting your eggs in the basket of, hey, let's be a really good defensive team. The NBA is like PA said last week, they've taken the mid-range game kind of out of the NBA. You still have guys like Kevin Durant, some of these older guys that love to get to this mid-range, Chris Paul, but it's really become a 3-point and a dunk and layup game. So if you can say, hey, we're going to try to take away the dunk and layup aspect of the game, let's go make you be the Boston Celtics and shoot 73s in a game. And hey, if you make 30 of them and you beat us, so be it. We're going to try to be there and contest, and then what we're going to do on offense is we're going to try to push the ball. We're going to use some of these young guys to get out in transition, and we're going to try to get downhill, get to the free throw line, get into offensive sets. So I think if you're a Timberwolves fan, you have to trust the fact that Tim Conley and Chris Finch know the recipe. They know the formula that they want to do. They want to have to try to win basketball games. Not only win basketball games, but get to the Western Conference Finals and finally break through to the NBA Finals. And I think you have to hang your hat right there on the defensive side of the ball. So I look forward to seeing what this front court can do with that. And I'm really interested in the next couple of weeks to see what the back court's going to look like, what it's going to shape out to be, because there could be a lot of moving parts.
Well, and part of that, the looking forward to and, that's the goal is, breaking through to the finals. There does have to be some patience associated with that too, right? In the world of, the championship window is open.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to, if the Wolves don't go to the NBA Finals this year, and it'd be, A-Rod and Laurie. I mean, they're going to do whatever they can to put us in that spot every year. Mm-hmm. New owners just did the transfer. Best of luck to Glenn. But new owners, what a way to bring them in with a title, right? But the window doesn't have to be 1 year.
Totally.
So some of these moves, when you're talking about, drafting these two 18-year-olds, I don't know what the projection is, for the Aussie, Sikorsky, I think it is.
Yeah.
By the way, that guy's a freaky giant.
Oh, he's huge. He's massive.
And so super excited to kind of see what that looks like on the court eventually, but that's going to be a couple of years, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
The urgency of me, the emotional 40-year-old Rube, balanced with the long-term planning of a Connolly and a Rod and Laurie. They don't want to be in the lottery 2 years from now. I don't think that's bad for business. Yeah. So the patience associated with whatever window that we perceive exists, that has to be factored in too. So if this summer the best we can do, and hey, you know what? If Tyus can play a little bit of defense and get 7-8 dimes a game, and he's reliable on the court, and as much as we love Conley, maybe hit that little teardrop that Conley was almost trademarked for a large part of his career. Those were clanking this year,
no doubt,
with Conley. If Tyus can provide some of that at a financially reasonable price, maybe that's something you do now with the ability, understanding that things open up a year or two from now. And maybe a year next summer, we're talking about, wow, you can't believe what Connolly just pulled off.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's when the big name comes.
Yeah, I know. I think, we talk about this win now, and I think the Timberwolves do have a roster for a win now potential, but it doesn't have to be, right? It might take a little bit of time. And I think the only guy that really gets hurt from that is a Mike Conley, right? He's 37. I mean, we could talk Joe Ingles, but Joe Ingles was kind of just addition for this year. But Mike Conley's really the only guy that takes kind of that bite. The next oldest guy becomes Rudy Gobert, say at 33 years old. But Rudy looks like he can, he's comfortable playing for a couple more years, just the way his body and his game is set. But I think if you're the Timberwolves and you're Laurie and you're A-Rod and you're Conley, you're thinking to yourself, we want to break through in the next couple of years. But if we can't, we have to find a way to get our backcourt to a position that we can break through in the next 3-4 years. So if you're Wolves fans, I'm not saying, get comfortable and wait and take your time, because we've waited long enough. And you and me both know, Nordo, that we're in this position where we want one, right? And this Timberwolves team feels like the team. And we can, the Vikings are close too, but this Timberwolves team feels like the team that's going to give us one in the next couple of years. So I'm not saying, hey, be patient, but I'm also saying that if things take a little bit of time, I think this new Laurie and A-Rod and these guys that, are coming in, they want to win, right? They're not just coming in to have fun and compete. These are guys that want to win. They've been winners throughout their lives. So, you got to take a little bit of time, but I think it's close. I think it's really close.
Other than, in terms of the core four, we talk about it here. It's kind of a summer abyss-ish kind of topic, right? Going back to the 91 Twins. You weren't alive yet. I was 6, about to turn 7.
Wow.
In late October, early November of 91. So I can't even claim that. I don't. I really don't. Because at the time, I remember Kirby. Kirby's a guy that defined my sports fandom when I was at a young age. Also kind of appreciate Smoltz and Glavin and Maddox and some of that Braves team in the 90s and such. But at 6 years old, watching it, as Gladden crosses the plate, I can't speak to this emotionally overwhelming glee that I had. It was past my bedtime. I think my dad just turned the TV off and I had to go to bed. And that was kind of the end of it. So, we're all hungry. We're all hungry for a title. Mm-hmm. And so we want the big news. We want to be in on all the trade bits. I want Derek White on my team. I want this. Hey, what's up with Giannis, right? What if Giannis came to Minnesota? Oof. That'd be crazy. But all miraculous and completely unrealistic trade ideas aside, the next step for Anthony Edwards. Mm-hmm. And the budding superstar that he is not perfect. Mm-hmm. And for me, one thing that we really talked about, and I'm sure you were part of these conversations, joining us weekly as you have, finishing at the rim in particular, right?
100%.
And so it kind of reminds me, in a vacuum, that OKC series when Randall hit 5 of 6 from deep, it was like, that's nice. Mm-hmm. 20 points in the first half, digging that. But you could feel that ultimately for us to win that game and win that series, I don't want Julius Randle shooting that many threes.
No.
And despite the efficiency, I think he was north of 40% this year, and he was shooting a ton of them, made the most in the NBA, Anthony Edwards did. Mm-hmm. I wonder if Malik Beasley had anything to do with that decision, which I do want to ask you about maybe later. But him getting better and specific, going to the rim, forcing the action, mm-hmm. and maybe Anthony Edwards can be the guy that other teams are complaining about taking 14 free throws a game. You know what I mean?
Well, I think Ant's a guy that has to look at this year and say, hey, this is a personal challenge this summer. Like, not that I failed this team, right? Like, you can't put it on your own shoulders. But I think Ant's a guy where he's in a position where it's like, hey, I'm the man. Like, I'm the leader here. I'm the guy that's going to take us to where we need to go. At the end of the day, that you need a team, right? But your best player has to be your best player. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he had how many 30-point games in a row to get them to where they needed to go. So if you're Anthony Edwards, you have to look at this and be like, I want to lead this team, and I want to make this team in a position where we can go to the NBA Finals. What do you look at from the past year? Yeah, I shot the hell out of the ball. I was excellent from three. Okay, what's the next part of my game? Can I be a better facilitator? Can I finish better around the rim? And I believe he can. At 23 years old, it seems that he sometimes goes in there and just I don't know if it loses focus.
It's crazy. He's still so young, by the way.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if it's like a focus loss thing or what it is, because he's so dang athletic and he always has a first step that beats defenders. But now, can I execute a little better at the rim? Can I become a guy that draws fouls and learns this niche? Because it's a skill. It's truly a skill to draw fouls. So I look to Anthony Edwards this summer to have a huge summer because I think he has to be that spearhead, and he's becoming the face of the NBA, right? It's like, obviously it's still LeBron, it's still Giannis, it's still some of these guys, Jokic and Shea, but the next up is Anthony Edwards. So if you want to lead that, if you want to lead the NBA, you have to bring your team to that kind of position as well.
That's Parker Fox. We're going to pause one more time, and then I do have a couple more Wolves questions for him. We might dig into my goodness, with Malik, part of this federal gambling investigation. Things getting greasy for old Malik Beasley. We'll talk about more hoops when we return with Parker Fox. Nordo in for PA on the Fan.
Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days, and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. That's TRYRUFF. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
Head over to our contest page, enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see renowned comedian Brian Regan at the Mystic Lake Showroom, September 27th. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest. Enter today.
Wow, some big news in the NFL, which is exactly why we had Parker Fox in today, is to analyze all the big trades and moves. Vikings fans, if you were thinking, what would a scenario be that might bring of course, all-pro corner Jalen Ramsey. Yank him from the Dolphins, put him on our favorite team. It's just not going to happen. The Dolphins and now the Steelers have consummated a trade per Rappaport, Pelissero, and Schefter, and all the ones you know. So he actually gets a $1.5 million raise this year. He's going to make $26.6 on the season. But he joins a defense, Parker, that includes, the only two names that matter on that Steelers defense would be TJ Watt and former Gopher Beanie Bishop.
There you go.
Beanie Bishop in the mix. But all jokes aside, and Beanie has a chance to contribute. I think he would start maybe in the nickel spot. But you got Darius Slay. They brought him in. He's aging, but still can be very good. Minka Fitzpatrick on the back end. I believe they really like that Joey Porter Jr. On the outside. Oh, and wait a minute. They got Patrick Queen from Baltimore. Okay.
Peyton Wilson, Alex Highsmith. There's some names over there. Deshaun Elliott too. Like that's a defense.
On paper, that is a fantasy football feast.
Yeah.
Now offensively, Rodgers has to make it work with Metcalf. I think he'll do his damnedest to make that happen.
The beautiful thing is it could all fail with Aaron Rodgers.
Wait a minute, hold on. The Steelers drafted Caleb Johnson?
Yeah.
The Iowa kid. They got him in the 3rd round.
Wow.
Oh, and they got Cordero. Oh, watch how that Arthur Smith, that OC, before Aaron Rodgers starts browbeating him and blatantly not listening to him in between plays, is going to find a way to use Cordero with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so Jalen Ramsey. So that means it's the island of Fabian Moreau. Ladies and gentlemen, Vikings fans, look forward to the island of Fabian Moreau potentially being a gun-for-hire pickup for the Purple Cum camp. But at least now we don't have to worry about it. Parker, final segment with you, and really appreciate your time. I know you got a busy week ahead of you. Now you're engaged, get the wedding set.
That's right.
You don't have to do all that today, by the way.
No, I can take my time.
You can take your time with that and just learn. If you love it, I love it.
Yep, exactly.
Just learn that statement right there is going to take you a long way.
That's right.
Potentially, no mo nah. Nickeil Alexander-Walker going, and frankly, I would say in the Western Conference Final, he was, and who knows? He's playing his cousin. You want to put the personal aspect of it in the mix. But I thought he had some of his best games in the postseason when we absolutely needed it, and we were at the death. And whether it's the defensive intensity, you can trust him to come in and do some ball handling. We were talking last segment, might end up being underwhelming in terms of the name that comes in, but finding a point guard, finding somebody that can distribute, finding somebody that can play some defense there in that spot, and maybe offer just a little bit more offensive consistency than the elder Conley can. We're kind of losing in regard with Nickeil potentially going elsewhere. I think I shouldn't even say potentially. It kind of feels like that's just how it's going to be.
It's not enough money
with the money to Nas and Randall. What are we losing with Nickeil? And it's kind of a couple of years. It's not like he spent his career here.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, kind of sad to see him go.
Yeah, I think you're right, Nordo. It's just professional sports, right? It just puts you in a position where the money had to go elsewhere to construct a roster, and Na is the guy that kind of becomes the guy at fault there, and it stinks because he's really adapted this Timberwolves mentality. He's an elite defender. I think Jaden McDaniels is obviously our best defender, but when you can bring a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker off the bench and sub in, because Jaden kind of gets some of these early fouls sometimes, and I think Nickeil's more of that poised defender, and he can guard 1 through 4. He's physical down low. He really guards well with his arms out on the perimeter, and then he's become really a truly solid corner 3-point shooter. Like, it's never been an offensive thing for him, but a guy that when he's shooting the ball confident, it comes out of his hands smooth. He can really fire that thing. So I think somebody's going to get a steal in Nickeil for what they're going to have to pay for him. It's not going to be overly expensive, but it's just something the Wolves couldn't afford at this time. I think when you're looking at teams, I look to Detroit Pistons right away. We talked briefly about Malik Beasley, probably not going to be playing an NBA game ever again. Obviously innocent until proven guilty, but
those videos are pretty.
There's going to be a lot of proof there. So if you're Detroit, it's like, what kind of guy can we bring in to take up that position? I love a name like Nickeil Alexander-Walker there. Across the NBA, I know Atlanta Hawks have shown interest. I know the Lakers have shown some interest. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the Motor City next year.
Now, what's the etiquette? You played high level long time. You're not winning this game, Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And people are just kind of chilling. Dribble it out, horn sounds, right?
Yep.
But once in a while, you do see it where there's an inbound pass, maybe actually, in the offensive zone.
Yeah.
And you just, no big deal. I'm just going to dunk it or do something like that. Whatever. You do see that from time to time. What's the etiquette around taking an inbound pass, running 94, 95 feet, whatever it is, and slamming it in with 0.4 seconds left? That to most people would just go, that was just a little pity basket at the end. But to those in the know, that takes a 9-point loss to a 7-point loss, which means a certain team covers.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have a lot of happy or angry people.
There?
Oh, there's definitely etiquette. I think the biggest thing you kind of got to realize is that at the NBA level, the clock doesn't stop, right? So he lays that thing in with 0.4 on the clock. Now somebody from the Clippers has to go, because the NBA can't just call the game. There has to be zeros on the clock. So now somebody from the Clippers has to go take the ball, step out of bounds, inbound it, and it's a very little thing, but it's just like this thing in basketball where it's like you don't do. It's a no-no. You just dribble up the ball, you take your loss.
There's a white flag moment.
Exactly, 100%. And I think when you play 82 games and you play these guys enough, and some of them were your former teammates and everything, like you have some personalities in the NBA where hey, this guy's kind of a stinker. Like he's not he's pushing the limits of what is sportsmanship across the NBA. And I don't think that Malik Beasley is that guy. It probably was because he had a pretty hefty dollar amount on that game and thought, hey, if I can get this thing in and if I can go score this ball, let's go do it. So obviously, like I said, innocent till proven guilty. I don't want to throw all this bad juju on Malik Beasley. He was former Timberwolves, elite 3-point shooter. Hopefully this is not true. But it doesn't look good for the guy.
No, it does not.
It looks like a guy that either him or some buddies had some money on. So, and I'll tell you what, like over the past couple of years, with how big sports gambling has become, like at Minnesota the past year, like we would have people come in and talk to us all the time about how important this is and how big of a no-no this is. And if you put $1 on it, they're going to find you. It seems that there's some people out there that this is not going to just fly underneath the radar. Like this is going to be a whole investigation. And if it's true, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and it's not exactly the Wild West. It's heavily regulated, and frankly, I mean, going back to Pete Rose, I think he would be historically maybe the top of most people's mind when it comes to and he swore to the end that he never gambled on his team to lose. He didn't throw games and all of those things. But in the end, if you ruin the integrity, if you create or allow that doubt, Tim Donaghy, when the refereeing bit was that 25 years ago now, but you have moments like that where it kind of etches away at what you believe is the purity of the sport. And so, we're kind of, other countries, I mean, it's more socially acceptable. You go over to England, you can walk into a Premier League match and bet at the window before you get you get a hot pie and a beer and walk in. And so, obviously we're newer to that, but man, like you said, I think you said it right. You hope that this is all some weird, coincidental and mistaken situation with Malik Beasley. No mistake with you, man, though. I appreciate all your intel on the Wolves. Congratulations again on the big engagement. And hanging out with me for an hour on a Monday morning. That's Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24 via X. And we're going to transition the conversation. You'll have Ryan Burns and the Gophers in studio at 11. But next, a special announcement from our favorite hockey team. And CEO Matt Maka is actually going to call in and have a quick chat around the corner. Second hour upon us. It's Nordo in for PA, 9 to noon.
Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. That's TRYRUFF. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.